That's kind of like an abbreviated version.
It felt like a shorter version. Yeah.
It was.
Very quick.
It's exactly what it was.
Is that intended? Is that
Sure.
of course it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I intended that.
All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our 9,000th episode of the Drawing Hive. I hope you're here to do your push-ups and sit-ups today. We got some really good reference series that I've actually have totally caught up on. Perry Mason HBO series, which I was excited to do this because it's really well filmed. I think it's well written too, but the cinematography is really nice. And, I love the idea of a period story that, they did a really nice job with, all the effects of the cars and buildings and clothing. The way they shot it was really well done. So I suggest anybody to watch it. It's quite entertaining. Matthew Reese plays Perry Mason. I think that's a fabulously lit head, perfect short loop lighting, really, really nice, nicely lit. Should be able to do nice drawing from that. Second pose is Jen Tulek. And both these first two are 20-minute poses. The third pose is Chris Clark and or Juliet Rylance. And this is a 40-minute pose, so you can either draw them both or just dig in a little bit more, spend more time on one. In between poses, it'd be great if you can post your work on Instagram at #DrawingHive. And then we'll go through and take a look at what everybody's done at the end of the night. I'm ready. Haven't really started much. Kind of went from one thing to the next. So this should be a fun night. Good reference, and I'm here drawing with Cassandra Loomis. Cassandra, thanks for being here. We've been spending some time on in Zoom recently.
Yeah, we got a new class we kicked off, and we've got a great group. So that's fun.
What class is that specifically?
It's
the style and
Oh my God, come on, guys.
Timmy, what's the name of the class?
Style and craft for commercial gallery art.
sorry. Okay,
You guys are killing me.
slept through the night in weeks because I've had kids. You got to give my brain.
Yeah. Well, you have an excuse, but John, come on. Yeah.
That's more like you said.
I was going to say style and craft, and I started to doubt myself, and then I was like, oh, I should just not speak.
We do a lot of classes.
Are we all feeling a little slow today?
Mm-hmm.
I'm more than a little slow, but that's normal. Cassandra, I'm going to let you talk about the class for a second because it's your class. I assist with it.
Hey, John, before you do anything, switch your camera.
Oh,
there you go.
You guys just don't want to watch me draw. You want to see my drawing. Not much to see, actually.
Well, I've got a big floating oval, so yeah, it's really exciting over here too.
What is the first week of classes like for that course?
You go ahead, Cassandra.
It's more of an overview of just of what we want you to bring into the course. So we talk about just what are different genres of understanding of trying to figure out, first off, like what kind of area in the gallery world do you want to work in, and then how to find your muse and what that looks like, and finding 3 muses to identify yourself within that you can look to as a mentor. And then once you start to figure those things out, then we also want you to do thumbnails, and we talk about what we want the thumbnails to look like and have an explanation of that. And kind of just go over like what does it mean when we say value and chroma and what's a tangent, and just kind of getting everybody at the same level so that when we critique your work, everyone comes in with the same understanding.
I think the most important thing that we get to people to do right away is that's establish a working process.
Hey, John, check your camera because it's not set up right.
Oh,
Yeah,
how about that?
looks great now. You trying to stay off camera today?
Well, I showed
Yeah.
the artwork I had up high
Oh, I
class
see.
the other day, and I forgot to move it.
All right. I just want to remind everybody, if you do have questions about drawing, I know we haven't had figures with hats for a little bit. I noticed you got two good ones on this one, John, for the third pose.
Yep. That's all we did for a while was draw figures with hats. I was sick of it for a while.
And we did a lot of glasses for a while too.
Yeah.
What's the toughest part about a hat?
Well, it's got to sit on the head properly. Making sure it's proportionally right and it feels like it's sitting in form to the head. It's not that difficult, but for some reason we did cowboy hats for a while, and man, they were messing with me.
Yeah, cowboy hats are harder for me.
What about a cowboy hat is harder?
Because of the way the brim turns up on both sides, and then there's like a dimple in the top. Just finding the right balance of that, and then it resting on the head and the shadow it casts. I found that complicated at times.
Yeah, I'm assuming there's just a lot more shape to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hey, John, your talk on Monday about Bernie Fuchs was amazing.
Oh, thank you.
I really, really, really enjoyed it. If any of y'all haven't watched it yet, go watch it. It was wonderful. You did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, I highly recommend anybody who's interested in learning more, about, I mean, some of the foundations, John, for a lot of your education, right?
Yeah, the guy who's just an absolute legend of an illustrator, great artist, and he was, he was a friend of my father's and a friend of our family's. And I was very fortunate to be able to have time with him, personally, and also, he really gave me some just tremendous advice about being an illustrator and critiquing my work. I was fortunate that he was kind enough to do that.
That's just, yeah, like I feel like you did such a good job of just explaining your relationship with him and how it affected you as an artist, and then also just the arc of his career and watching his style, like his style and working change. And that was such an exciting thing to see it all put together.
Yeah, John,
John,
John, I know you put a lot of time into preparing it. And I know you also already knew a lot about Bernie Fuchs. What was something new that you feel like you learned or noticed?
well, I knew that I got my facts a little bit more clear by just making sure they were right. A lot of things that you take for granted, which is, secondhand, or just think something and you don't really. I know he was very interested in cinematography, and spent some time like 67 and 68 of working as a cameraman, working as a cinematographer, had some commercials produced, kind of left the illustration world for a little while. Thank God he came back to it. And he was just a remarkably talented individual, in his, I was aware of it. He lost 3 of his fingers, or portion of 3 of his fingers, in an industrial accident when he was about 17 years old. And it changed his trajectory of being a musician to being an illustrator. And it's amazing that, he was able to, he was so facilitated and so facile with material that, he, certainly didn't, losing the fingers, I'm sure it was traumatic, and well, I obviously know it was traumatic and difficult, but nobody would ever know it with his artwork.
Yeah, for
No.
anybody wondering, he lost half of his working hand, right, John?
No, he lost from this knuckle.
Can't see
I'll put my hand up here. I kind of need to do it this way.
Yeah.
Well, you can't see it. From
Okay.
here to there, from his, like the tip of his, his pinky was fine, but from where his pinky would connect across here.
Well, might not be 50%, but I think it's 90% of the utility.
Right.
Yeah.
Was it on his dominant hand?
Yes.
Wow.
And obviously that was the end of his trumpet career. He played the trumpet. But he was just an amazingly nice man, incredibly facilitated. Just had a really unique point of view. That's one of the things I was really fortunate to talk with him about is he reviewed a piece of mine at the first time he ever looked at a piece of artwork of mine, at the illustrator's workshop, and he did a critique, and he really started with the photo reference and point of view, and being able to spend some time with him over a period of about 3 weeks in Paris, where he continued that conversation. I remember walking around the Louvre with him, and him pointing things out to me, pointing what somebody was doing, trying to achieve, with their point of view of or how they reference something. It was really fascinating.
That's so cool.
And you did, and you just, at that time I was 19 years old, and my dad and all the other people that were there too, but Bernie was just, the guy was genius, and being able to have that opportunity was really, really affected me.
Mm.
Yeah, you can tell at the beginning of that I'm quite
I
emotional.
thought that was beautiful, just beautiful, because it just speaks of like how important that relationship is and
Well,
how that changed you as an artist.
yeah, well, I wanted to talk about him being an influence on me, and he was also an influence on my father.
Yeah.
And they became best of friends, and they were only a year apart. He was only a year older than my father, but he got started earlier. My father had to go to serve in the military. Bernie didn't, because of his, obviously wasn't able to.
Mm-hmm.
So he was the youngest person ever inducted into the Society of Illustrators Hall of Fame. which was at 33 years of age, which just blows my mind.
Wild.
And all the photos I showed with him and Lyndon Johnson and John
Oh
F.
yeah, and JFK. Oh my gosh.
He was 29 years old. You know, he was the most sought after illustrator in the world when he was that age. And that's just that really does amaze me.
It's also a lot of pressure at that age. But he handled that so well.
Yeah, sure. Being able to, I would imagine it takes some pretty good communication skills to walk into the Oval Office.
Yeah, no kidding.
How old were you when how old were you when he passed away, John? How long ago was that?
I was 40. You're asking me, it's like my book report, if I remember.
Oh,
It was 2009. I was 40. I was 49 years old.
was he in his, how old was he? I guess.
77.
Okay.
Oh, that's pretty good.
A pretty long career.
I think that's right. He was born in 32 and passed away in 2009. So
That's the question. Way.
Timmy's going to make me get my notes back out here.
Well, yeah.
I remember all of that well. I was very fortunate to be able to visit him in 2000 and I saw him in 2005 and 2007. And he went to I saw him in New York at one of my dad's openings at the Eleanor Ettinger gallery. He came to an opening, and then I went up to Guilford, had lunch with him and his wife and Rose Heindel in 2007 up in Guilford, Connecticut, where Rose had moved to. Wish I would have seen him more.
Yeah.
Such a amazing guy, amazing talent.
That group of artists that your dad was, his peers or his friends, was that kind of because they started the illustration workshop, and it seems like from the outside, I mean, I knew your dad well too. They kind of didn't seem protective at all about like keeping their process or their thoughts on great illustration a secret. Was that conceptually new in that world?
A little bit. I mean, some were more guarded than others. But they all were very open to what they did and, talking, helping people. There was something in the water for those 6 people. I don't know what it was. They were just so kind of just immensely talented. It was a very creative time to be an illustrator. And then, it changed because they all were editorial. I mean, did a lot of editorial work. You saw the number of Sports Illustrated and TV guides, Ladies' Home Journals, McCall's, Red Book. There was just such a great venue for illustrators to work in at that time. And they were, highly sought after. I think that, there was there's always a little bit of like, oh, that was kind of the end of the illustration world. It wasn't. It was the end of the women's magazines. It changed a lot. And that was such a big venue. And there's so many other things that have come up and, opportunities for artists that have a lot of the similar skill sets to work in. Yeah, I kind of hate to be, well, I was one of those artists, that
Yeah.
it started at that time. And things changed a lot even after I started. But man, I was so lucky to be able to do some of it. And to be around it.
And correct me if I'm wrong, next Monday, are we doing Robert Heindel? We're continuing the
I think so. I'm gonna try to. If I can emotionally get through it.
Is Robert Heindel, is that gonna be a harder one?
Yep.
Yeah.
He was really influential to me. I mean, I spent quite a bit of time at his house as a child. His children I was good friends with his boys, his two older boys. And I got to see him quite a bit over, like, especially when I was first starting. And when I was getting started in New York and looking for agent and trying to get jobs, that type of thing, I stayed at his house a number of times, at Bob and Rose's house, and he would educate me while I was there, give me good advice.
If you were to distill, like, how would people recognize Robert Heindel's work, or like
He's kind of what he really became known for is his understanding and his importance of painting dance. He became probably the most sought after artist in the world that was doing that subject matter. He was like a contemporary Degas.
Oh, so good. So good.
They're just insanely talented. I mean, I just don't even know how to explain it.
Yeah.
Very creative. And he was just a really charming and contemporary individual.
What do you mean when you say like a contemporary individual?
He was very aware of what was going on in the world. He made himself he educated himself in what was going on day to day. I mean, paid attention to the news. He read. He was made his work current. And
It sounds like he was really curious.
he was just a really, really interesting individual.
This is probably hard to answer, but like, because that was a crew of like, how many people you think?
Well, there were 6 of them that were considered, that group that did the illustrators workshop, and
Yeah,
um,
kind of like a dream team.
yeah.
I
Do you
love
feel
those photos you had.
Pardon me?
Wasn't
I
the
love
passion?
the photos you had of them all together.
Oh yeah. It was funny, 2 of those photos I was standing right next to the photographer. The one in Paris and the one in my dad's studio.
Those long collars were epic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was a different thing. It was like they were fashionable. My father was interesting. It probably wouldn't happen anymore, but maybe to a certain extent. But so many people looked at those magazines. There was so much traction to it. He would get recognized, and people would stop him or hear his name and say, "Oh, I know who you are." That's not that common anymore. Yeah, they had kind of a celebrity status.
That's really interesting. Do you feel like they all, so as a group of like 6 people, do you feel like they all felt like they all had a certain level of respect for each other's skill?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's pretty amazing. I
Yeah,
think
but they probably thought they were the best.
that's kind of what I was asking. I was curious how they would all rank their lineup, you know?
I don't know. I don't think so, though. I really don't. I
Yeah.
think they all thought they did. They certainly appreciated what each of them did, and I think they all thought they were the best at what they did. You know, each other thought they were best. They were fans of each other.
Yeah. And everybody, we're in the last 2 minutes of this first post.
gosh.
By.
Well, at least I'm gonna get him on the
You
page.
got good likeness going there, John.
Yeah, it's a really great photograph.
I feel like I've made him look like Bryan Cranston and Quentin Tarantino had a baby.
Totally. But I mean, that's
Right?
just who that person looks like.
No, I don't think so.
I think so. He's in what's the show? The Americans?
Yeah.
He looks like he aged like 20 years since that show. Maybe some makeup. He looks like an intense individual.
You know, I've watched both series, Timmy.
Yeah.
And I just realized after you said that, oh my God, he was in the Americans. Yeah, it's because of how different. I mean, he's so different.
Really?
And if you've seen him interviewed, he's British, and he has a very strong British accent when he's being interviewed.
Or is he Australian?
And doesn't have it at all in the show.
I think he's Australian. Is he?
Well, he has an English accent, whether it's Australian or British. I'm not sure. Yeah. I thought he was British, but
somebody else can do the research.
he's very.
Somebody else tell me, please.
He's a very good actor.
He's Welsh.
Oh, he's so good.
Welsh. Okay, I was closer.
You were. That's always fun. I always think sometimes that ruins like a show for me when you find out like the actor is British or Australian, because then you start to hear it. Like even the best actors, they drop it every once in a while. Okay, everybody, that is the end of the first pose. We're moving on to pose number 2. Please post your work to Instagram. We're going to check it out at the end of the show, but post it now. It's #DrawingHive and @VisualArtsPassage.
No, we don't do a whole lot of. I know we answer questions. We don't do a lot of teaching here, but I would like to say something about my drawing. As crude as it is, it's successful for me, because I mean I can go and polish it, but it still it's still very loose and crude. And what I've been hell-bent on recently is trying to inform drawings, give a lot of information, but not polishing them, keeping them rough. And I'm real happy with this drawing. I think I could make a nice drawing out of it. I'd have to think about composition a little bit, think about how I would finish it. And right now it's just a floating head, but trying to get those things and establish proportion, establish, just the likeness of them is kind of what I was after. So I'm happy with it.
Yeah, you got it. You got it. Good. You can start the next one. I'm still chasing likeness here.
I thought about, well, maybe I will spend more time on it. I'm trying to figure out which one I want to draw. I love this. Oh, and I'm supposed to say this, right, Timmy? That
Yeah.
this is And I don't even know which is next in order. Is it Tulip?
Yeah, that's
What?
our second pose is the woman with the
Right. And
wild hair.
somebody captured this off of television
Yeah,
and
it's definitely a phone photo for
and
sure.
then posted it. But I love the photograph. I love the expression and looking back at the camera, the head tilt and the shape of the hair is just
Oh,
it's
beautiful shape of the hair.
gorgeous.
So somebody's iPhone photos in our drawing tonight. I would love that person to have, they have no idea. They have no idea how far their photo went.
That's funny.
I love it.
I'm gonna draw this one and try to work on it a little bit longer. Thought about sticking with Perry Mason there.
So, like, from Americans, he and Carrie Russell got together. I'm not sure if they're actually married. I know they have a kid. But I watched her show that just came out, The Diplomat, and I loved it.
It's good. Is that Netflix?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, cool.
We should do a night of that because
Yeah,
that was really fun.
I'm writing it down so I have it in my notes for future episode.
Yeah. Really, really fun writing. I think the writer also wrote for West Wing and also The Americans. So it's just like really smart dialogue and very witty.
Man, I didn't grow up with West Wing, but I've been told like many people it's like one of the best shows that's ever been on like cable.
So I didn't watch it when it came out originally, but when I was pregnant, like that last trimester, I was huge. So I wasn't getting around much with twins.
Oh my
I
god, I
started
can't
watching then.
imagine.
Oh my gosh, I had huge babies. So I like did I at the end I wasn't sleeping much, so I started watching The West Wing, and even after my girls were born, we just had The West Wing on round clock. Like my mom was just talking about it today. She came to help out, and like we all were talking about how like if somebody was up for a couple hours with the twins so that I could get sleep, they would watch West Wing and then go to sleep. And while they were sleeping, I would watch the episodes they hadn't watched. But like the West Wing to me is so tied into like right before and right after my kids were born.
Yeah, do you think that had any like Pavlovian effects on your daughters?
I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah, if they like hear the intro.
I like I don't know if any other women felt this way, but like when when you have like a baby, you are just it's round clock just doing stuff for them, and you don't feel very smart. You're just like changing diapers, feeding them, trying to get them to sleep, and you're just in this endless cycle at the beginning. So I was trying to do things that made me feel smart. So I felt smart watching the West Wing, and I watched a lot of documentaries because I was trying to like somehow feel like I was bettering myself while I was just not moving or sleeping or going anywhere.
That's funny. Generally those things are like the key to just putting me to sleep. like like if I try to read a book before bed, I'm out within like 10 minutes. Yeah.
Well, I couldn't even read a book because I would have both my hands full.
Yeah, I
But
can imagine.
I know I must have annoyed people because like they would call and I would have like a new fun fact from like some documentary I watched. And so I'll be like, did you know? Or I have this great recommendation. Like that's when I watched like a bunch of the Banksy documentaries. Yeah, I think I annoyed everybody with all of my quote unquote fun facts.
Man, I cannot imagine twins. I have a nephew that I think is wild. Like if I spend like an hour with my nephew, I'm like, oh my God. He's like
Um,
amazing. He comes over and
you
it's
would
like
just you would adjust. You would adjust. That's what I tell everybody is like We didn't know better, so we don't know what it's like to just have one at a time. But I think everybody would just adjust.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good to know. But I mean, man, if my nephew comes over, it's like a hurricane goes through our house. It
Oh, well, yeah, because you're not used to it. It is absolutely exhausting if
Wow.
you haven't built up any kind of endurance with kids.
We also, our house is just loaded with sharp corners, just like to the brim. Like everything is sharp in our house. Yeah, and I've got
I
like skateboards. I've gotten in so much trouble, like just like they're like, you left the skateboard out. And I was like, well, let
Was
him.
it purposeful, Timmy?
I showed it to him. I introduced him to it, and I was like, well, John, like I'm competing to be the cool uncle, which is it's gonna be pretty easy. It's gonna be a it's not gonna
sugar,
be
noisy
it's not
toys, that's what
yeah,
wins you.
it's
Well,
not gonna be difficult at
you're
all.
competing with a DC lawyer.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, I can do an ollie on a skateboard, and I know my older brother cannot do any. He
Oh
can't go.
yeah, that does make you the cool uncle for
Yeah.
sure.
So like, and you see a 2-year-old try to understand what an ollie is. It makes you feel for like if for like a brief moment that you're treated like Tony Hawk.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you ride a bike without training wheels, the kids think that you are a rock star. So
Yeah.
it's pretty great because you feel really cool around them when you do stuff like that.
Yeah. I do like jujitsu tumbling, and they don't understand it. Just rolling, running into like a body roll. And then
Uh-huh.
they try to do it, and it's like they just fling themselves recklessly. And and somebody's like, hey, maybe cool it on the teaching them how to ride skateboards, and just like
Yeah,
flail. Yeah.
helmet, knee
Wait
pads,
till they're
maybe
old
a
enough
lot.
for the motorcycle. Yeah.
Yeah, I have been shopping for a helmet, Cassandra, for a kid, but I can't imagine how fast he's gonna outgrow a helmet.
You can get you can get them in their ages like 3 to 6. They will actually will last longer than you think
Oh, really?
because they're adjustable.
Man, my friend in Denver just took his 2-year-old skiing, and I was like, that's crazy. The as a hobby for a young kid, um, difficult financially, I would think. Those boots aren't cheap.
Oh, that's expensive gear for sure.
Yeah. I found it when I was like, I thought this was hilarious, just on the topic of, I guess, design. I was like Christmas shopping for my nephew, and I was trying to get some clothing for my sister-in-law and brother, and for Teddy. And I found this company that makes clothing that they claim lasts from the ages of 2 to 6 years old.
How?
They
How?
it's like almost like origami, like it like unfolds over time.
But is
And
it also Kevlar? Like,
I don't know. I don't know. And I didn't buy it because they were like, it did seem very scammy, because they're like, our clothing is priced accordingly. Right. And so it was like, it'd be like a bodysuit for a kid that's like $200. But the claim is like, it lasts 7 years. But it
it's
does seem absurd, doesn't it?
my kids have a gift for like tearing something or staining something immediately. So I want to know how it could possibly last.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that. Like they would just be covered in just like dirt, blood, and ink, and like markers.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Like I'll put
everything.
them in white pants and I turn around and they're like scooting their butt along the grass. And I'm like, what? We just put those pants on. Come on, give me 5 minutes.
My mom got like really good at getting blood out of our like shirts and stuff, and I didn't realize until recently. I was like, that's hilarious. That like she like spent a lot of her time trying to figure out like how to get blood out of our clothes. We just were apparently we were pretty reckless. On the topic of reckless, we got Raymond Bonilla here.
Ha. That doesn't shock me to hear that the Trayvon boys were reckless.
Yeah, 3 boys. Yep. Oh, nice, Ray. You're upside down, but it looks nice. What is that?
Are you muted?
He must be. Here he's just not talking, or
Should we talk for him?
we'll talk for Ray. Ray's like, thanks. This is just my notebook.
I was just drawing my
Little
baby.
diary. No, I'm sure he'll figure it out. He's got the fancy setup. He's probably
Yeah.
Ray's probably preparing his radio voice. He
Yeah,
has
totally. He has to get his headphones on.
me.
What are all those like alliterations that you say to get, good, clear talking?
Yeah, I just always think of like Anchorman for that stuff.
Yes.
Will Ferrell's always doing that.
Ow now, brow cow. Ow now, brown cow. Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Well, he sells seashells by the seashore.
Right. How's everyone doing?
Good,
Good,
Ray.
how are you
Good to have
doing?
How are you,
Good.
Ray?
Sorry, I'm a little late. Hey, John.
Oh, we're lucky to have you. Late is good. Late is okay.
It is great, rather
great.
than
They say.
not showing up.
Yeah, arrive alive, Ray. This is good. So Ray, what have you been your class started this weekend? So you're teaching, if anybody's wondering, Ray teaches the second course in the commercial gallery program. And
I bet he remembers the name better too.
Yeah. Yeah. No, Ray has done a really awesome job. And this is the first week, and Ray's got a lot of your students, Cassandra, from last semester.
Oh yeah. They're all gonna have fun together.
So now that they've gone through, the skill and style, they've moved on to gallery, inventory, and career with Ray. So it's a little bit more of you say forming your body of work, kind of with a strategy, would you say, Ray?
Yeah, basically it's just taking what was worked on in the first class and then just running with it and developing more of an emphasis on galleries and really targeting galleries that where your work is appropriate, and coming up with that, along with just exploring other opportunities that kind of can help support that. And
Yes.
it's just about just the day-to-day of just like continuing to be an artist, even if you have like a gallery, as Cassandra knows, like that's like kind of the first of many steps.
Mm-hmm.
Which, believe it or not, classes start on Saturday, but I'm pretty excited. We've already got half of our guest speakers for the summer semester posted, and it's pretty awesome. I'm pretty excited. We still don't have a commercial gallery director and 2 of our other guest speakers, but Wesley Burt is coming back, and then first time guest, but I've known him forever, Jeremy Collins. It's going to be
that'll be great.
classroom, yeah. So I'm sure he's probably going to be tuning in from like a satellite phone from like
In Nepal or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say like some peak in Venezuela or something. Yeah, he'll make it difficult for me for sure. No, he's great. He does a lot of guest speaking, so I know it's gonna be no big deal for him. But Iris Compiet, which Iris does a lot of fantasy artwork and illustration, and then Drew Tucker. Drew Tucker came recommended from Lake Hurwitz. It's got some really beautiful. I just learned about Drew's work. John, had you been familiar before Lake sent his name to us?
No.
Yeah, he's got some creepy stuff too. I'll see if I can grab it.
I love the creepy stuff.
Yeah. Same with Iris. Iris has some really creepy stuff. Yeah. John, you were talking about what Wes Burt has been up to lately. What was that again?
Well, I've just been looking at these posts he's been making. He did was a big part of a D&D book that just got released. And he's been.
Isn't it beautiful those posts that he's been doing for the
Yeah,
D&D
they're
movie and
they're very cool.
oh, yeah.
Ray, do you know the name of the IP? I don't remember it.
The Dungeons and Dragons movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what he was working on. He had a major part in it, in at least the conceptual design, and he was showing story beats and things like that. And they were just
I was just gonna say major clue that John was cool in high school. Dungeons and Dragons, never heard of it.
Is that the same as D&D?
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
Tom was a jock. Come on, everybody knows that.
No, I couldn't help it. I'm gonna see if I can grab. I'm gonna pull some stuff from Wes's Instagram because it's pretty amazing. Do you own any books like that, Ray? Like the character or concept art from the films?
I was thinking about that today, and I don't know why. I own a bunch of art books. Like I have like Ian McCaig's book, who's another like super famous conceptual artist, did a lot of stuff for Star Wars and the original like Doug Chang stuff, but nothing like the Dungeons and Dragons, like this type of stuff. Like the art of, I actually need to start getting some. I already have some in my checkout. But yeah, that stuff is so good.
Yeah, you can see. This is from Entertainment Weekly, which I guess did a little reveal, but you can see some of Wes's stuff in it, which is amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
he's pretty good.
He can do some stuff.
Yeah,
really good guy too. I mean,
he's the
best person.
He's the best. His whole family is awesome. He's from out of Kansas City. His brother is an incredible. Charlie Burt is an amazing designer.
Wait, so he's from Kansas City?
He is, and it's funny.
That is small world. Wow.
I had dinner with him in San Francisco. Was introduced to him. I went with Coro and a whole bunch of people from Massive Black to dinner, and twice. And the second time, he said, "Hey, John, next time I'm in Kansas City, maybe we can get a beer or something." And I was like, "Why would you be in Kansas City?" I'm from there. And it's like he never said anything. You're from there. And then he goes, my dad. I was like, I had to think about, and it's like, Dudley Birch, your dad? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, I just never he was so quiet at the time. I just never put it together. And
wow,
Dad's a good designer.
Yeah, Ray, I go climb with his brother every now and then, like a couple
really
times. Yeah, like I go to an indoor. We both go to an indoor climbing gym, so I'll see him there every once in a while. And
his mom's a good artist too. She draws with us every once in a while. She's very good.
Did you say his mom?
Wait.
Yeah.
Wow. So there's a whole family.
Oh
yeah.
My goodness.
Man.
That's an Insta ban right there.
Yeah, right.
And here's another thing is Charlie Burt is like climbing like 514s, like really advanced climbing. He's just like I went bouldering with him and I couldn't believe it. Like it was shocking. I was like, in comparison, I was like climbing a ladder, or steep stairs.
Or those like little stools, like you get a Rite Aid.
Yeah,
the ones that
like a gradual incline compared to him.
Goodness, that's awesome.
But he's a really great designer. I think he is freelance in Kansas City. He works with a ton of businesses.
That's so cool.
Whole family.
I ran into him in San Francisco at a painting show, out of all things. He was in the show. It was called like 24-hour or something, and it was basically like all the artists that were in the show created the piece in the gallery.
I've heard of those. Yeah.
And then at the end of the night, it was everyone just they hung the piece up, and had an opening, and his was incredible. And I saw his sketchbooks. That was the first time I saw like his work
That's frightening.
in the sketch. Yeah, yeah, really frightening. I was like, oh my goodness.
You realize that
So
so much of that stuff is just drawn from memory.
yeah, I know. So I don't even want to know how his family climbs up, mountains. You know what I mean? It's like like the Spider-Man with like the Italian Spider-Man where he's like climbing up. You ever seen those? Where he's like climbing
No.
up on the side of a building, and it's like clearly he's on wires, but it looks like he's just sort of skating up. That's what I imagine.
Oh, like
It's
the old Batman and Robin climbing the
right. Yeah,
building.
yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. With that much facility. That's
John,
that's super exciting. That's going to be a heck of an interview for him. I know he's chatted before, right?
Oh yeah,
And
and he's come in and he always does like he makes does a painting for us. Does a live piece. It's pretty fun.
right. Wow. All right, I'll
here
have to maybe
I grabbed some of his
sit
work
in.
so we can check it out. It's from the archives.
Oh, wow.
I mean, whatever. Yeah, whatever. It's
This is
unbelievable.
my
Look
favorite.
at
Look
that.
at that. Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the first pieces I like, the first types of like in little moleskin. And I'm just thinking like, what?
That like moth. I think that's a moth or a butterfly. It's really cool.
Mm.
Yeah.
How hard do you think it is placing these heads?
I
I mean,
mean,
it's
He
a-
starts with one and just
for
works around it.
for humans or Westbert. I mean, which one? I can
Yeah,
only
there
I
you
can
go.
only speak for us regular humans.
You would be surprised how much of that's invented,
really.
or maybe you wouldn't.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Just think about
The
the diversity of angles where it's like it doesn't feel like it's leaning in one direction with the heads, like their line of sight, they all seem to be looking at something else.
Yeah. And that he makes them all look like unique individuals. Because I feel like some people that draw fast, they can often all look very similar, but they all look like their own person.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember it was either like I overheard him say this in a conversation, or I read an interview with him, but he said that his goal was to be able to like draw everything like and in his dreams like completely photorealistic, just straight out of his head.
Oh,
And he's just got this sort of ability to recall or retain information that is is exceptional. You don't meet a lot of people like that with
Yeah. John, I don't know if he's done this for his lectures with VAP, but I do know that this was his. Uh-oh. That's the end of our second pose, everybody. So
darn.
we're moving on to our long pose. This third pose, you can choose option A or B of the third photo reference. And but please post your second image to Instagram with hashtag drawinghive and at visual arts passage. Just so everybody knows, I've been doing bonus fives on all of these too. So
What? Don't
Yeah.
tell me
these are
that.
25-minute sessions. No, John, I was going to ask you, or I guess the thing that I thought was so much fun about when Wes would do a demo at the academy, and I think he's done this in one of our online classes. He does it almost like Mad Libs, where he has the students all
Give them prompts.
give them like 5 different prompts,
Yep.
and then he forces himself
hilarious.
to do the demo, incorporating all of those, and he'll create like a creature out of it. It's so cool.
Oh, that's so fun.
He does it right on the.
You know why?
It's like crowd work. It's wild.
I'm gonna come clean right now and say that I'm not gonna be able to do that for my demonstrations of my classes. So
I know, me neither. I want to say
I mean, it's the oil
expectations
paint.
are
It's the
lower
issue is the
plate.
oil. Yeah, it's the oil paint. Yeah.
Yeah.
You get that Command Z out of the oil paint, man. It would be so.
Right.
One of the coolest things was, when he was at the academy, he had just finished working on one of the Transformers films of the franchise, and
The second one.
was it the second one? So this was a while ago. Because God knows how many of those there are, but he would show the vehicle and demonstrate from his design like how all the components could transform into the bot, and would show it so that like the person further up the pipeline like had a good reference to work from that like didn't require like magic, right?
Right. The true conceptual designer right there.
Mhm.
Well, that's kind of the goal of designing a character, is that so somebody else can take it to the next step and build it.
Right.
Yeah, and I guess the even more impressive part of that is that he would explain like, then you're also tasked, because those films are like heavily funded by certain car companies and car models, that then they're like, okay, we need you to do this, but it's got to be with like a Dodge Viper. And and I always thought that was interesting, because you're like, you'd think that there's going to be constraints on the design of that car,
Right.
He
Funny
wouldn't.
you mentioned that, Timmy.
Yeah.
I went over to have lunch at my sister's place today, and her restaurant, and one of her customers that comes in every day, he's a car collector, and he drove his Dodge Viper today.
Did it transform into a
No,
Autobot?
but it was pretty cool looking through it. I had fun looking at it. Yeah.
Like a new Dodge Viper?
No, old one.
I'm fast. That's cool. That
Um,
was the
I mean, it's third. Yeah,
Cooler if it would have transformed, but okay.
I know.
It's like pretty mediocre transformer, but
I'll take
It's hard to impress, Ray.
what car? I mean, I grew up with like the poster on the wall of the car that you loved when you were like a kid, Did you guys, what was when I grew up in the 90s, so the dream car, I think, was a Lamborghini, like the dream car. John, what was it? Was it like Ferrari or Porsche or something when you were young?
Yeah, mine was an XKE, convertible XKE.
I don't even know what that is.
Jaguar.
Okay,
Your dad had one. He didn't have a convertible. He had a coupe.
man.
The nerve.
Yeah.
I think it's the prettiest car ever made.
I think the Lamborghini Countach was
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking
car.
of. I had like a poster of
Yeah.
it, I think. I mean, I just remember that.
I had a poster of it in a video game.
Oh, that's
So,
cool.
I wasn't exactly a car
Car guy.
but I did play a lot.
You're a video game man first.
Yeah. I mean, I like sports cars in video games.
Ray had his priorities straight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, what type of posters? Like, well, I got the Legend of Zelda poster that was a map. That was really helpful.
That's good. Yeah, I think the Lamborghini was the hot ticket when I was in grade school.
Wasn't the Countach so like what had the it was the one with the back window was like a little slit, right? And you had to like, in order for you to parallel park the car, you had to have the door open.
I've heard that. I heard John Cena talk about that, because John Cena, which is hilarious because you can imagine how big of a man he is.
So
And
he owned one.
he owns one, and he talks about the process of backing it up, and it's hilarious because he's like, you have to get out of the car to
Right.
You
have
to
to
back
get
it
out
up,
of the
you have
car,
to be
yeah.
out of the car. There's not any other way. And he just talks about how it's like the epitome of form over function. It's like they're really difficult to drive. Like they're only fun to drive if you're like skilled at driving them, which like requires a small fortune to become good at, And yeah, so I thought that was interesting, but it is like
Amazing.
the ultimate designer's car, I think. I don't know.
I loved it in the video game. I loved it.
What was the video game? Cruising USA?
Oh my goodness.
Is
You're
that
showing your colors.
is that too
You're
young for
sho- No, it's just bad taste. It's questionable taste.
you?
No, it's
Bad taste. The
You're
Need
being
for
judged
Speed?
in this moment.
that Need for Speed 3 Hot Pursuit. Did
Okay.
you did the chat help you out on that one?
No, just for the record, I got that all by myself. Yeah.
I'll let the chat decide if that was if they think that was a truthful
Calling Cruising USA a bad game, I think is poor form, right?
it's not a bad game. It's not one of the games that you
Would have a screen capture postered on your wall.
yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Do you have old games that you've like revisited for fun?
Oh man, I do. I still have in my parents' house. I still have my old PlayStation games, and I don't have the systems up here.
Yeah.
But my brother still has like all the retro systems, so we visited, and it's kind of amazing how certain things, how much video games as a medium has changed, like evolved, I should say.
Uh-huh.
I mean, like it came from like a couple of people making a video game to now like 1,000,
Right.
people on a video game. I mean, there are these massive productions. But yeah, they're it's it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I have like the old retro, the Nintendo ones, the old school like NES stuff. That you could play, on your computer and whatnot. That's fun.
I
But,
I had the opportunity to get a gaming system when I was like, I guess probably like in 5th grade. And it was like either Dreamcast or Nintendo 64. And I've heard about this. This is a type of consumer. You're called the Harbinger. I think is it pronounced Harbinger?
Mhm.
Yeah. They call you a Harbinger of Doom, which is you have a knack for picking products that fail. Right?
you picked Dreamcast.
And so I picked
That's
Dreamcast. And it was like literally like none of my friends had it. No one could play. Nobody liked playing games on it.
Nobody
then-
knew what he was talking about.
And then they like discontinued making games. Like it felt like within a year.
Yeah.
And we
yeah.
just had this. It was like
It's
you could
it's
play
hi-
like Sonic and Crazy Taxi, and that was it.
I mean, it's now a coveted retro system. Isn't that crazy? Since everyone like
Oh, really? I did
didn't
not
buy
know
it,
that.
yeah, didn't buy it or just like got rid of them, and so it's pretty coveted.
Yeah, well, it's in a tub at my mom's house. They probably somewhere in the basement. But yeah, no, I recently read about that, the Harbinger of Doom.
It's
Some
amazing.
they do studies at like grocery stores where they get permission from customers to track their spending. And then like a company like Doritos would do this. And then they track specific customers once they identify the customers that buy bad products. They track those customers, and that's how they determine if a product is going to fail or not.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
that must have
And-
been that was
Like a real
definitely my
gift.
neighbor then.
Well, and what was interesting is that they then tracked that these types of people, the people that qualified as a harbinger of doom. So like if they bought some like weird flavor Doritos that like, like where they're almost like a joke flavor, it'd be like marshmallow flavored Doritos, right?
Right.
Um,
Mhm.
this person buys it, but what they found out is that if you then go to that person and pull them on other things in their life, they have like a knack of picking like failed candidates for like office, like sports teams, like it just
No
Wow.
way.
yeah, and it's
Do
just
they
like
know that they're that person though? That's my question.
I don't know. That's a good question. It would not be I would imagine not a good thing to, qualify as. You don't, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, ignorance is bliss on that one, right?
Yeah,
Probably best that you don't.
I think that it would be nice if Doritos kept the data to themselves.
Yeah, I don't know that I would want to know if I was that person for them. Or maybe I would make it as a moment of pride. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, my neighbor had the Dreamcast and the Virtual Boy.
I
Remember
have no
that?
idea what Virtual Boy
Did he
is.
also have a Zoom, like instead of an iPod? Like that would really.
Oh man, I should ask him. I should ask him next time I see him.
Is Virtual Boy
definitely had
like is Virtual Boy like an off-brand Game Boy?
No, it was like the virtual reality system for that Nintendo put out. You ever
Really?
heard of this?
Never.
Cassandra, you must have played Virtual Boy, right?
No, I've never heard of Virtual Boy. This one's new for
Oh
me.
my. All right. Well, talk if you that it was
E-Man
a
will know.
failed.
I promise you, E-Man would know about it.
Give me an era.
Okay.
What era is this Virtual Boy?
You just you Google that thing, you'll see it.
I'm sorry. I'll
That's
just
the 90s for sure.
you're like enough people know about it. Oh wow. It's pretty cool. I remember this, Ray. I remember seeing
You-
this at someone's house.
Put a picture up.
See? But
I'm
it
working on
wasn't in your house. It wasn't in your house, Timmy. So you're
No,
not that
no
bad.
way.
You're
I
not
would-
that much of a harbinger.
But wait, it's actually kind of shocking that this. Let me make sure there's nothing. I'm sizing my eBay so we can look at it. It is wow. Yeah, I remember.
There it is.
Right.
$375?
$75.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
John.
I do remember that.
John, do you want to fit this into the drawing Hive
I
budget?
played one time. Who had one? I knew somebody that had one of those.
Just one single click.
Yeah.
It could be emerging technologies. I just remember thinking like, this is the future. All video games would be like this.
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
like 6 months later, they were like, no one bought this.
Not so much.
I mean, isn't
That's
that wild? Like with like Pokemon Go, which what do you think pinnacle of like Pokemon Go when it had like over 1 billion downloads like in a single weekend? I think that was like 2018, right? Or is it older than that? But I remember seeing that like the augmented, would you call it, does that qualify as augmented reality?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
100%.
I remember
100%,
thinking like, okay, like the Call of Duty app is going to be wild, like zombies, like everything's going to be augmented reality because like it's so cool. And I feel like it, as a concept, kind of like just got stunted, like especially considering how successful Pokemon Go was.
Yeah, and like it was followed up by Harry Potter, which is crazy to think. Like they took a stab at it, and I don't know if it did well or not.
I had no idea.
But
I don't really keep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't really have the pulse for that stuff that much, but yeah.
But you saw Pokemon Go though, so like you were aware of that, and so was I. So like,
yeah, I was just like, this is it. This is we're going to be talking about how Pokemon Go changed video games.
We might still be though. We might still be.
Uh-huh.
You never know. Might just be like an attempt.
Yeah, I remember there'd be like a Pokemon like at a gate in an airport. Somebody.
Oh, it's still going strong. My kids are crazy for Pokemon.
Yeah, but like somebody would like get a plane ticket to get to the gate to like get a Pikachu.
Let's call this kid Timmy. I mean, it's just a random name.
Yeah, Timmy. That's a kid's name for sure. Yeah.
No, I had a Pokemon gym across the street from me. It was like a church, and all of a sudden, like I would just see these kids around this church all the time, and I'm like, what is going on here? And they were all on their phones, and I was like, are they waiting for a bus? Or and it was all Pokemon Go.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I
Well,
believe
that
it.
was a huge problem back in the day. Like when it first launched, people were complaining that the gyms were near these places um that were causing
What?
congestion problems.
I was just gonna say, what it still doesn't though, right? That would be a pain if like my front
I
yard.
feel like they had problems with people like falling off of like cliffs and stuff like it too, because they were so busy looking at the app, they weren't actually looking at where they were going.
Oh yeah, that's terrifying.
You know. But yeah. So I didn't. Thank goodness I didn't grow up with that. All I had was I had to be stay in one place, or like if I was outside, like you really couldn't play the Game Boy. I got a Game Boy, so you really couldn't play that at night, or you were pretty limited. You had to have good lighting to play it, and
Oh,
like
yeah, you know
Remember
what?
40
the
pounds of
Nintendo
AA
pad?
batteries.
Did you ever play like the track and field on the Nintendo pad?
Oh yeah, yeah. I never had one, but I like having. I would visit kids every so often. You'd find a kid that would have one, and it was like, who is this? A Rockefeller? You know?
We had one, and like I think my parents were just hoping it would get energy out of us, my two brothers and I, because they're just like, go run in place, go play that game and just get it out of you.
Did you get like tired and just start hitting it with your hands?
Well, when then we learned we could just like jump off the pad and jump back on. Because before you would just try to jump really high and then you started to figure out the quirks of it,
Oh, right.
how you could cheat the system.
See, oh man, yeah. That was I saw a history on that. Um on that thing. There's this great channel on YouTube called the Video Game Historian, and it's really good. It's by like somebody I think who does his research, like really fascinating stuff. Like for instance, John, did you know that Nintendo had a stake in the Seattle Mariners
Did not know
baseball
that.
team?
Did
Yeah.
not.
Yep. And there's
There's
a whole history
there's a whole
behind it.
lot of stuff you guys are talking about I don't know about. I kept thinking, man, if Dale was here, we could be talking about lawnmowers or something.
Ah,
Oh, yeah, Dale would have shut that conversation down so fast.
Ray, did you watch the Tetris movie?
I did not. I saw the Video Game Historian, another
What?
plug for this dude.
Ray, I'm officially
The
disappointed in
documentary
you.
on the I'm sorry, I saw the documentary on it. I saw,
Not good as
a
that.
lot. Yeah, I know.
It's
Tetris is
really
a
good.
story of betrayal and
It's
you
like
know
Russia during the
espionage
Cold
and
War. It's
yeah,
crazy. I had no
yeah,
idea. I had no idea.
yeah.
You guys
It's
watch it.
where's I did see it, but I saw the trailer for it, but I didn't.
It's on
Where is that
Apple.
streaming?
On
Oh, it
Apple.
is. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I like email my husband he showed me the preview like a month before it was going to come out, and I was like, wow, I didn't think I'd say this, but I really want to see that Tetris movie, and we thoroughly enjoyed it.
You see, E-Man sounds like a man of
Ray, you
he's a
and
man of
him,
classics. Okay.
I think he follows the same game historian you do. Like he's into all of that.
I mean, he would be as a fellow connoisseur, he would be. Yes. Yeah, there's no
Timmy, do you have news
Funny.
today?
Yeah.
There's some people asking for your news.
Oh, nice. Well, hold your horses.
Change the subject. Give us news. You know, it's really bad when that happens, right?
Yeah, I'm
No,
trying,
No,
I'm
it
trying
was
to,
more
I'm
of,
trying to
I
type
feel
in and
bad. I
ask
was,
for news.
I'm actually doing some news research right now.
Okay. Well, can I talk about John's excellent Bernie Fuchs?
we were
The first
talking
part of the
about
Bernie
that
Fuchs talk.
earlier.
Oh,
We
man.
mentioned it earlier, but I want to hear your take.
So good.
Well, I love the fact that it was the first talk, Bernie Fuchs talk or discussion on his work. I realized this from not only a person who knew him, but not the first talk about Bernie Fuchs from someone who knew him, but like another illustrator who sat down and spoke for an hour about him. And I was like, oh wow, I've had conversations, but never had like saw like an actual talk about somebody who knew him as close as he is, you did, John. So it was, for an hour, like an actual, formal talk. It was great.
Thanks, I
So-
appreciate it. It was, at times it was difficult to do because it is emotional to me. And
Yeah.
I one of the things I get emotional about is like, I remember being that age and really, 19, 20 years old and really excited about, taking on the world as an artist and all that. And you look back in retrospective and you're like, well, that's not everything I thought it was going to be. But it's, I just think it's so healthy for people to reflect, especially artists, to reflect on, long-term goals and, all that stuff comes up. It gets smashed around your head when you have to go back and think about, something, what you were doing 30 years ago. And then influences, I just love the fact that you can feel like, even if you haven't met Bernie or you haven't met, who some of your artistic influences are, you feel like you know them because you spend so much time looking at their work. I think that's a very,
Totally.
very healthy and kind of unique thing for artists to do.
Mm-hmm.
I
Okay.
instantly went, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Ray. No, do it.
But no, one thing I was, so in the talk, if you haven't seen the talk, there's a part where John was like, this is my favorite Bernie Fuchs illustration, with someone on a motorcycle, like a police officer, and then like a crowd behind him. It was beautiful. And I was thinking about like what my favorite Bernie Fuchs was, and it was really, really hard. There's a piece where it's like people standing in a crowd, like on a field, and in the background is a raceway. You see people like with like some cars, and some people have like umbrellas and things like that.
Mhm.
And I remember that's the first one I saw that I was like, who is this?
How can
that one,
somebody do that?
yeah, how can somebody do that? And then never realizing that. So, for those of you who know which image I'm talking about, and if you put that up next to John's favorite, and if someone didn't tell you, you would never know that was the same artist.
Right.
Wow, that's interesting.
So I thought I'd point that out. But
No. I think that, one of the things I didn't talk about, where, being, not thinking clearly why I'm doing that, was, his reason for changing, his ability to change, make such drastic moves as an artist. I just think that, it was he's one of the few people that the oversaturation of the number of people that imitated him. And because he was so unbelievably popular. And, you know, for him to survive in the industry, he had to change. To me, everybody else was working like him. And to be different, he had to like do something different. And, you know, my father's ran into that a couple of different times in his career. I know Gary Kelly's run into it. And that's an interesting thing to really think about. It's like, I'm doing me, but so many other people are doing me, I can't do me anymore. I gotta come up with something different. That's really amazing that he was able to do
Yeah.
it.
All right. I think it's action news time. Okay, tonight's action news. I got a lot of help from field reporter Cassandra Kim. Right, this is a really fun. I thought this is a good one.
I loved it.
Van Gogh still life renamed after chef catches mistake. Sharp-eyed Dutch chef Ernst de Wit took one look at Van Gogh's red cabbages and onions and knew something was wrong. So that's the Van Gogh work. Utrecht-based chef noticed he was looking at the description on the wall and found that Van Gogh's still life painting red cabbages and onions was erroneously named the onions, which he identified. He believed they were heads of garlic. And so he sent a message to the museum, and the institution actually took it very seriously from the start, he explains. This report's from hyperallergic.com. The museum kind of went down a rabbit hole to figure out what was true, and they concluded that those are not onions. Those are heads of garlic. So they've renamed it to, it has been renamed to red cabbages and garlic. Really big change. But what is kind of sweet is the chef then made like a little plate that he dedicated to.
That's awesome.
Fun. It's very pretty. He's a good chef, or at least he is a very design savvy chef.
Amazing.
Well, also, like when you show the painting, one, like snaps for him. He reads all of the signs next to the paintings. So I think like he's a quality connoisseur of art. But also you look at the painting, that is blatantly a head of garlic. You know, like there's no confusion to me. That doesn't look like an onion. That looks like a head of garlic. You can see the cloves.
Yeah. But isn't it amazing that probably like thousands of people, if not more, like looked at it and everybody was like, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And accepted it. And he was like, no, I will not stand for that. That is garlic.
Yeah, he's he's like, and he like reached out. He like went to the mat for it. He's like a letter writer. There's not many of those left.
I like see him like really upset in the museum, just being like, who calls this onions?
Yeah, like almost like a Gordon Ramsay situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go and guess that he sounds like a very sweet person.
It does. I was picturing
Yeah.
I was picturing an angry chef at the injustice.
Yeah, anybody that writes letters, I thought it was funny because I was hearing these comedians talk about you know, how much like hateful things people will write in their comments on their posts or whatever, any content they put out. And they're like, it used to be you would get that in the form of like mail. Like if you did something that upset people, they would like mail letters to you. And it was like, and they said, and there was something very nice about it because you got the satisfaction of throwing it away. I thought that was so funny. I think it was Seth MacFarlane was like, back when we started Family Guy, we would get like trash bags full of letters from people who were upset every week, and I would get to just throw it away. Anyway,
That's
so
funny.
you could do, if you could only do that with the negative feedback.
Well, what if
Right.
what if there was a reason that Van Gogh did that? What if he had some kind of reason that nobody really understood why he called it that way? If he titled the work, I feel like that's kind of a rip. They shouldn't change his title of the painting.
Ooh,
might have had-
did he title the
That's a
work?
really good debate.
He might have had purpose in.
They said that it was erroneously named. I feel like that.
Okay, well, that makes that makes.
Yeah. No, he didn't name it. I think it was just, you gotta categorize it somehow. Yeah.
Yeah,
Erroneous.
naming pieces. If he did, I mean, John, I remember your dad talking about naming pieces, like how it's just like he talked about how it's like his least favorite aspect about making art.
Yeah.
And then
Really
when the
didn't.
gallery called him, he was like, "Yeah, we sold like Hazy Blue Morning," and he's like, "I have no idea what that is. You're gonna have to send me a photo of it because I
I was
not a
guessing
clue."
he's gonna be like horse 25.
That's how he named everything. I mean, it's like he would just like landscape 472. It's like, okay. It was funny. I can tell you a good story about that. Is a friend of his gallery was pushing him to come up with, really get more serious about. One of his galleries was about the naming convention, and his friend of his that was a collected a lot of his work, said that yeah, I agree. I think it would be, I own a lot of your work, and it would mean something if if there was a little bit more to the name. And so my dad purposely named a bunch of pieces that had his wife's name in it, like Mary Lou's Pond, or so he would be compelled to buy it. She would want him to buy it. And it worked.
Amazing.
That was pretty funny. It's like, okay, you want me to name them? I'll name them so people buy them. Put the onus on him.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so I think we'll all be on this. I agree with you, John. If Van Gogh had named it, it would be wrong to rename it.
Yes,
It would be way wrong to
Yeah,
rename.
but,
totally agree.
Yeah.
but I'm pretty sure erroneous is kind of a SAT word. But I'm pretty sure it just means that they had to name it. And it got erroneously named.
Like a curator is just like, I don't know, we'll just call it red cabbage and onions.
Yeah.
Next.
Yeah. All right. This is under category. This category is scandal. Former auctioneer admits helping to create fake Basquiat paintings. Oh my gosh, I'm having a rough time. He helped create and verify 25 fake paintings. This category should just be Florida art news.
Like Florida man, but Florida art news.
Florida happens to come into action news pretty frequently.
Oh, this happened in Florida.
Yeah,
as
this
well?
happened. They were seized from the Orlando Museum of Art last year. Michael Barsman, 45, admitted in court papers filed on Tuesday that he and another man, only known as JF, which that's pretty exciting, created the paintings that were passed off as undiscovered works by the trailblazing artist. Oh my gosh, the fakes, some of which they say took only 5 minutes to create, were successfully sold by the duo and made their way through the art market. It's really terrible. And I'm assuming, this went all the way up to the FBI. So this is a big deal. Not
a lot of money involved.
Not just like Florida PD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a huge amount of money involved.
I can't imagine. Yikes.
That's tough considering that you had the the auctioneer was in on it. You know, so he
Yeah.
was able to like, oh yeah, you know, he verified it. So
So Basquiat's at one time, I don't know if he still is, was the highest, most expensive American artist. Most expensive art sold by American artist.
I think that he has been surpassed, but I'll look that up in a minute. But
That could be, but at one time he sold a piece for $105 million. A piece of his sold for $105 million. And it set the record, and I'm sure it's been surpassed by now, but
right. Yes, it has. But
as I remember, Basquiat was only 21 years old.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of fame at a young age.
no biggie.
do you guys want to guess what the most expensive expensive artwork ever sold was?
Is it a Warhol?
Of an
I-
American artist or
Of an
just in
American,
general?
I said American artist is
That's a hard search.
wow.
So
Well,
you might
Gerhard
know-
Richter was for a living artist. Gerhard Richter was for a while. God, I should know this, and I don't.
um
I would think that Damien Hirst still has a record.
Isn't
Yeah.
he British?
Well, yeah, but Timmy's talking about
Yeah.
anybody.
Timmy
So-
refused to do the American artist search because it was
Oh,
quote,
okay.
too hard.
Sorry.
Okay.
I thought we
Evidently, it's too hard of a search for Timmy. So
I will do it. I'm doing
The
it.
head of Action News, by the
Yeah.
way. The
Yeah.
producer.
the true journalist form. That's too hard.
Oh, John, you're gonna love this. The results are in. It turns out it was pretty easy to search. um, and you are correct. It is Jean-Michel Basquiat.
Oh,
Yes. And it was for $110.5 million.
Oh my gosh.
And it was the 6th most expensive painting in the world ever sold. So you're right. When you're right, you're right.
What's the most expensive painting ever sold?
Go ahead and this is a fun one to guess. So I would say guess the artist and the amount.
oof.
Oh.
I mean, I'm probably wrong, but maybe the Salvador Mundi Da Vinci. But
Yeah, I was gonna guess Da Vinci.
Oh, that's convenient, Cassandra.
Yeah.
No, I really was.
Ray, do you want to guess first or do you want Cassandra to guess the amount?
I'll say 300 million.
Okay. Ray, what do you think?
oh,
You gonna do
like an
300?
amount.
Are you gonna
Yeah,
do
Yeah,
I'm gonna go last.
uh,
Ray, you guess.
$1, Bob.
Okay, I'm gonna say 301 million.
okay.
Hey
I'm gonna go
guys,
302.
Bill, are you
Oh
gonna
no,
Hey,
you
Bill.
said $1. You can't come back.
Okay, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
going
$1.
303.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
You gotta wait, joined by Bill. Most expensive painting ever sold and amount. Bill, you ready?
oh, you want me to guess?
If you want to.
Well, Salvador Mundi is a tough one to top. I'm kind of, I'll guess something different just to be different. I'll say Vincent van Gogh. I don't know the painting. I'll say 200 million,
Okay. All right.
but I'm sure I'm wrong.
Here it is. Let's see. All right.
Oh
there-
yeah.
Boom.
You guys nailed it. And it sold for $450.3 million.
Oh,
Dang.
Yeah.
I should have bet one higher,
Yeah.
John.
That's
I really hope it's
why
not
I was
used
saying
to
I was going
warehouse.
last, right?
Yeah, hasn't seen. It's not on view. It's not on view, right? For the public, right?
I don't know. Let's see.
But a
I don't
private
think it's
collector.
been. Yeah, I don't think it's been seen.
It looks like it's a yes. Yes, it does. It's definitely not on. Yeah.
which
it's-
is which makes people some people I've heard other art critics surmise that the reason why it hasn't been shown is because they think it's a fake,
Heard that too.
and it would and it's
I was gonna
and
ask
people
you.
would be.
too. Yeah, has
Can
it
you
been
imagine? That would be the
confirmed?
greatest fake in the history
Fakes.
of Western art. Yeah, fakes.
Yeah, just sitting on that information, like that made it out there, and you just know that you pulled off a Da Vinci.
well,
Well, like
also,
they go ahead,
I was just
Tim.
gonna say also it's an interesting like con because it's kind of mutual assured destruction. Like
Right.
the con artist, like the victim of the con is like in a way in on it in that they're trying to protect that it's fake. Like, they're trying to keep that in secret.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. I mean, I heard that. So there's this podcast called Suggested Donation. It's by Tony Saranine, Edward Minoff. They're from the Grand Central
Gallery.
School of Art in New York, and they interviewed the person who authenticated that Da Vinci at the time,
Yeah.
and it was like this, like they were asking him like, I mean, how did you feel? Did you were gonna? I mean, your reputation is based off of this. He goes, oh, I know, and he was talking about how like it was a, you know, you could tell why like some certain people would not want to be in this situation to be like, yep, I sign off on that, because if that shows up as a fake for
Right.
some reason, you're done,
Yeah.
It's only off by 410 million, and that would be tough.
Yeah.
I heard that there was a painting, I think it was hanging in the Modern, and somebody came in and told them that it was hanging upside down. It had been hanging there for several decades, and then the person looked at it and they realized it was hanging upside down. Which I kind of just love that as a story, and I wish I could remember more of the details.
It was probably that same chef who called out the inaccuracy in the Van Gogh piece, man. He was
Yeah,
busy.
he's just like the art police,
Yeah.
Um,
Timmy, do you have another story? I don't want
No,
this
no,
session to go incomplete on me.
it was a quiet week in the art news.
oh,
Oh.
Yeah,
I wanted another story.
that's all I got. Yeah.
Basically, Cassandra provided two stories, and
No, I didn't. Timmy found the Basquiat one. The thing I did also see was that the climate activists hit another work of art,
Yeah.
and this time it was at the Washington D.C. Museum. They did red and black paint around the plexiglass of the Da Vinci's tiny dancer statue.
Yeah.
Jeez.
wow,
Who's Tiny Dancer statue?
It's that Elton
The what?
John. Thing.
Vinci.
Yeah,
It's the
Yeah.
I have a copy of
the
that.
the National Museum in
Yeah.
DC.
yeah.
Wait, do you mean Degas dancer?
Yeah.
You said they said Da Vinci's dancer.
You said Da Vinci. I was like, I've
Oh,
never
did
seen
I say Da Vinci? I meant Degas.
Yeah.
Sorry,
That's
Da Vinci
a
on the brain,
little-
obviously.
I was a little confused. I was like, I didn't know he'd done. I had never seen that.
I was
Vandals.
like, that one might be a fake.
I got a little
Well,
excited.
my brain has not been working today very well, so yeah.
I was a little excited to see a new Da Vinci, or Da Vinci statue.
That's what the Vandals
Sorry.
did. Vandals were like, I thought this was a Da Vinci.
Yeah.
So
It's all right, Cassandra. I was talking about video games in the virtual play for the first hour, so you're allowed to.
Well, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Ray, Paul Silva wants to know, is that Prisma that you're drawing with?
Yes, it is. Yeah, Prismacolor, dark umber, and it's on Strathmore tone sketchbook. It's really cool. I love
Very
the
beautiful.
sketchbook. Yeah,
Um,
I used to go to the Met with it all the time. Every time I go to the Met.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, you drop, so because it's a nice, whatchamacallit, great, easy to sort of lay tones down for, and easy to handle because it's not too heavy either. So, like drawing the sculptures and getting my figure drawing in. Recommend doing that to anyone if you're near a museum that has like sculptures that well lit too.
Oh, yeah,
You can,
there's a lot of Rodins at the NC.
Here, I have a news related question. It's a would you rather regarding the Da Vinci, regarding the Basquiat, or let's just say making a fake Da Vinci regarding what you guys were talking about. Would you guys
Okay.
rather be tasked with stealing any Da Vinci, like any of them, by stealing it like a little museum heist,
Mhm.
or being tasked with making a fake one and selling it? What is the easier heist or con?
Oh, the easier one is stealing from a museum.
Yeah.
Really? I would think
Yeah.
making one.
No,
I'm
because
not going into that security.
oh no, you got to think about it. You've got to make sure that the subsurface that is on, that the fibers will date to the right century. Your pigments have to date to like be created in the exact same style that that was used then, and with the right binder, and that the edges have to be handled. Like all of those little details are the things that
That's
they
not true, Cassandra. You just got to get that curator that is being busted
Yeah.
right now down in Florida. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, but then you're going to be up all night thinking about that curator, thinking about what he's going to do or she's going to do.
Who you're going to pay off.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes,
my
sir.
question is the person at the auction house in on it, so you don't have to worry about authenticating it?
This is a solo job.
Then, yeah,
If I were to do it, I definitely want Cassandra on my team now, because
I know, because
I
I just
feel
got
like-
it all figured out.
I feel like if Ray was on my team, he would have let the whole fibers thing slide.
Oh yeah. I would have snitched. Timmy made me do it.
Ray would have been like, the fibers aren't even right.
I am willing to cooperate, FBI.
Yeah,
That is
that
the
FBI
name of the
agent.
mastermind is Dale Stefanos. I could write it out and give you his phone number.
Yeah, I can see that. The
Well-
FBI agent coming in and being like, your buddy told us everything.
The big trick too is the edges of the painting. So the great part of a lot of these big paintings being in the frames is people don't have access to the edges. So that's kind of one of the secrets that the museum is able to hold on to authenticate a piece that is known, because they know what the edges are supposed to look like.
Mm.
Mm.
I think I would love the challenge of trying to recreate it. And I know an art conservator that I could probably get the information from.
Would
But
you do it like Sly, or would you bring them in on it?
yeah, oh yeah, I would just, yeah, I would just get the information. I wouldn't bring them in on it because I wouldn't
Yeah.
want to.
Then they're going to sell you out the minute they hear that it's like stolen,
Yeah.
right?
Like,
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I know.
You wouldn't want to split up the 400 million.
Immediate fail.
It just wouldn't
Immediate
be
fail.
enough.
Right.
yeah, what can you do? You can't do anything with 200 million. It's-
Cassandra, I'm gonna be honest. You're kind of scaring me right now.
But
all I'm thinking of is like, I don't want to go to jail, guys. Like, Cassandra's like, no, Bill. It's like you're leaving too many loose ends. Conservator.
they're gonna talk.
Yeah.
But,
Hey, On that topic, this is the end of our final pose. I'm going to give us an additional 5 minutes. So the panel's going to keep drawing. But in this time, please post your work to Instagram using #DrawingHive and @visualize passage. I'm going to pull it up in about 5 minutes, and we're going to check out everybody's work tonight. So, but yeah, now I would just never sleep the rest of my life if I was involved in anything. I would just eyes wide open, staring at the ceiling.
Oh, I would be.
That would be your punishment.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would have to disappear. You know,
What'd you say, Bill?
I'd have to disappear. You know,
Yeah.
I would just, you'd never hear from me again because, you know.
This is Bill's last night on Drawing Hive. Yeah. The next
Okay,
time,
Timmy, here's a question for Timmy though. Timmy, if you stole the Da Vinci, would you cover it on Action News the next day? On Drawing Hive?
oh, just as
great.
like just as because I'm addicted to like leaving a trail.
Yeah, I'd be like, why would I cover it on Action News if I stole it? Huh? That's kind of crazy.
That would be part of the Netflix documentary about it. Yeah. I thought you were going to ask me who I would enlist as my like art partner, and it would definitely be Cassandra.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, because Cassandra, no, she'd knock you off.
No.
You'd be disappeared.
100%.
She'd be
Cassandra's
out
got a
of
family, man. She can't risk it. No, she can't risk you knowing.
No,
She's
too
got to be
much.
the only one.
Hey man, charter the plane. Yeah.
Have any of you ever seen the movie How to Steal a Million with Peter O'Toole and
Yeah, totally.
yeah, that makes me want to like do the art heist.
Okay.
Mhm.
I couldn't. The art heist movies are so make me so anxious. Heist movies.
Oh, I'm always rooting for the criminals.
Even like, what is it? Entangled? What is that one with Sean
Entrapment.
Connery?
Oh, entrapment.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone still thinks that's how you get around like lasers.
Yeah.
They did that in Ocean's 13, you know.
There's a radio lab that's dedicated. It's called How to Make $1 Million, and they discuss the fastest way possibly to acquire like $1 million. And they're like, it's art theft. That was because so much art is just in like unprotected buildings without locks, like throughout Europe. Just in small towns, they have, like a 700-year-old painting, just like.
Oh, and like old churches and stuff.
Yeah. And just like security in general. Like, I think this might be twisting it a bit, but they talk about like the most common way in which art is stolen is because somebody forgets to lock a door.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's hard.
We got to be careful because I don't want us to come off as a how-to video.
Well,
That's true.
This podcast told me that,
Yeah.
I can
That's
steal
Cassandra.
I would be
Miss Kim.
thrilled.
I
I'd
read
be
a book.
thrilled.
I read a book. Like,
Yeah, if our first of all, I think Radiolab's going to continue to outrank us on that one. Yeah, so I'm not too worried. But no, it is interesting because you start talking about like people talk about like museum budgets and Cassandra, you mentioned like those activists, they're like destroying, like attempting to like faux destroy art. Basically, they're just attempting to disrupt the museum experience in a really destructive way. Like most of the budget at museums is to just keep people from accidentally poking the art.
yeah.
It's just bodies in a room. Like it's just keeping people
Yeah.
from like bumping into a podium on accident, or tripping.
Did you guys ever read the book From the Mixed Up Files of Mrs. Basil Frankenweiler?
No.
What?
Oh.
It was one. Okay, well, maybe this explains why you all think I'm a little weird, but it was one of my favorite books as a kid. It's set in like the late 70s or 80s or something, but it's this brother and sister who run away and live in the Metropolitan Museum for like a week or two. And like they're sleeping in like King Louis the 16th bed, and how and it's before there are cameras in the museums, and just casually talks about like it's also they're trying to figure out if a sculpture was done by Michelangelo or not. Like they consider that their goal of the experience when they run away. But it's just all about two kids who hide out in a museum, and it was like I think secretly a dream of mine.
This is fiction, right?
Yeah, this is fiction. It's a book from a while ago, but I got excited and I reread it to my girls so that they could, imagine running away to a museum too.
Okay, everybody. That was the 5 minutes on that last post. So I am going to pull up Instagram and we're gonna check out some of this art. Some great stuff.
Oh,
Whoa.
wow. Wow. Look at
Ready?
all
Looks awesome.
oh my
Wow.
gosh.
Look at that.
Sammy.
Wait, that's amazing.
Wow.
Oh, that's
awesome.
beautiful. Great
Really
job,
beautiful.
Aaron.
Oh, nice, Randy.
Oh, wow,
Nice.
Randy.
That's cool.
You got so much into it, and the stained glass behind him too. That's
It's
cool.
great.
Oh, Marcy, love that.
Love it, Marcy.
Love it.
That's terrific.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, that's really cool.
I like that little frame. That's fun.
Yeah. Oh, great job. Love how you got the tilt of her head there.
Wow. Fun hat.
Nice.
Wow, cool.
You think hats are ever gonna have a comeback?
Good
Oh, yeah.
question. Oh, nice.
Hats came back as hoodies.
Good
Oh,
point.
that's great. Good piece.
Wow.
Oh, that's
Whoa.
Nice, Charlotte.
That's awesome. Fun.
I remember reading that people weren't supposed to wear their hats inside.
Nice.
Ooh,
The one exception was like the bus
that's
station.
lovely.
Wow, that's amazing.
Oh, that's great. Really fun.
Wow.
Nice.
Love how you did the hair.
That's
Ooh,
awesome.
Julian. Lovely. Sally, that's awesome. Wow,
Nice.
the flowers are fantastic. Oh, that's great. Ooh, good job, Gary.
Nice.
Oh, that's great.
Nice.
Love it.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
Oh,
Oh, that's cool.
that's awesome,
Well,
Peter.
well done, Peter.
Oh, that's really nice.
Marcy, I love it.
Awesome. Jeez.
Oh,
Wow.
beautiful.
Ooh,
Gosh.
that was
It
nice.
was like a Ramon Casas drawing, Gary. Beautiful.
Oh, that's really great.
That's a nice one too.
Oh,
Nice,
Oh,
Ruby.
Ruby, fantastic job.
Great.
Fantastic.
Wow. Cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Keep
See, I
up
should
the
have done
awesome
that.
work.
No, she did okay. These are awesome. Great. Getting them all
Oh
in.
my goodness.
what's that?
Love it.
Wow.
Nice.
Did it all.
Yes.
Wow.
Nice.
Great job. I love that you guys did that together.
That's so great.
Mhm.
Awesome.
Nice.
Oh, lovely.
Wow.
Oh, that's so cool. That's great.
Mm.
Cool. I love that. That's nice.
Nice,
Wow,
Xander.
Xander, good job.
Very nice.
Oh, I love those lines.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Whoa.
That's so good.
Oh man, Julian. That's
Oh,
crazy.
Dang, man.
What?
It's a lot,
How'd
right?
you have to do all of that?
We're reporting
Geez.
that one. Reporting that one.
Wow.
I'll go back. I'll get it later, Ray.
Oh, that's beautiful. Just beautiful. Good job.
You're
Good
gonna sick
watch.
the authorities authenticate that, Ray?
Yeah,
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh, I love these.
great. Awesome.
Great job.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Maybe our
Way to go,
youngest,
June Dog.
maybe our youngest artist.
Wow.
That's great.
Felicity's little
Hive.
sister.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
wow. There's always a freshman
that's
class, Felicity. That's what our track coach used to always say. There's always a freshman
Love
class.
that.
That's beautiful.
Great job. Just beautiful.
That's great.
Wow,
Nice.
Felicity.
Felicity.
You did so good.
That's awesome.
Nice. Good
Nice.
job, Nicole.
Ooh.
Wow. I
Oh,
love that.
Wow.
Really nice. Wow.
Nice one,
Paul.
Paul. Wow.
Cool.
Nice. Great job, Leslie.
Wow.
Good job.
Cool. I love the
That's-
shape.
It's really fun.
Cool, Nicole.
Nice.
Oh, I love how
right.
you handled the jacket too.
Cool.
Wow. That's
Wow.
beautiful.
That's great.
Oh, I love how you did that. Really
Awesome.
cool.
I'm looking at all these. I don't know if I want to, it makes me want to work harder or give up.
So
John, I'm looking
good.
at my hands and I'm like, is something wrong with me? Am I doing it in slow motion?
What am I doing wrong?
Look at this.
Oh,
AJ.
AJ.
Oh, man. That's nice.
Beautiful. Oh, those
That's
greens.
so
with the
cool.
sand.
Look at that one, Xander.
Oh,
man.
wow.
Wow.
Nice. Yeah.
Good job.
There's probably not a lot.
Bicycle.
There's probably not a lot of Perry Mason fan art.
Hey, tag the actors in this. They probably
Yeah,
love
you should.
to see
You
this.
should, because I bet nobody
Yeah,
draws them.
seriously.
This isn't like Star Wars.
Wow.
Oh, I love that.
That's beautiful.
That is so good.
It's great. That's awesome.
Nice.
What a hat.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Oh, cool.
Great job.
Oh.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
lovely.
Totally. That's so much fun.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow, Jason, that's really good.
I want to read that cartoon.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice.
That's really cool. That is a Chagall feel to it. Wow.
That's
Wow.
great.
Oh,
It's so good.
Killer.
So
I love the
good.
guy in the background.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like a
Wow.
court sketch. It's great.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Oh, that's so nice.
Good court sketch is perfect for the show
Mhm.
because they're in court.
Good job.
Wow.
Nice.
I'm so impressed with all the people that put his
That's
hand
fun.
in. I was like, I don't want to do the hand. So great job,
Yeah, oh,
everybody.
yeah.
Put that hand in.
Yeah.
Nice,
Beautiful.
Kelly. Really good.
Wow. A lot of people tonight. That's
Oh,
great.
wow.
Hey, welcome back.
Love it.
Oh, that's from last week. So
Norman,
I'm gonna end on this one.
look at that.
That's a
Beautiful.
What a night.
Nice, Hannah.
That was a great night. Thank you all for joining.
A lot of fun, everybody.
Yeah.
Really fun. Hope to see you all next week and come up with another good topic.
Yeah, and then if you want to join us on Monday for John's talk with Robert Heindel, if you can't, tune in on demand. It'll go straight to YouTube. Same with this. So Ray, Cassandra, Bill, awesome having you here. John, it's always fun.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Have a great
everybody.
week, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Good night.
Record.